Welcome back, my friends. Today we are reading Chapter 12 of Rolling Thunder, Purification. One night, close to midnight, a dozen of our group left camp, drove out of the canyon and down the hill. There had been no supper. Fasting was a part of our preparation for the events to come. We stopped by a railroad crossing just outside of town and parked the cars off of the road, as far out of sight as possible. We walked quietly along the highway behind Rolling Thunder. No one had spoken since we had left the campfire. Rolling Thunder did not want us to be seen. There are people around here who will shoot at anything if they have a reason that's good enough for them. Anyway, some of the local rednecks might get shook up at the sight of a bunch of hippies and natives out here in the middle of the night. He did not want to have to explain to any stranger what we were about to do. We had to walk along the highway and use the bridge to get across the river. Then we could leave the road and find a path through the field to our destination. We knew that if a car should come from either direction, we must all jump off of the road and lie low along the embankment and not be seen. But there were no cars, no sounds, no lights until we were on the bridge. Rolling Thunder broke the silence. Run! Beams of headlights sliced through the darkness as a car rounded a distant bend. There was nowhere to hide. We had to get off the bridge before the car came. We reached the end just in time. The last man left over the bank just as the lights reached the spot from which he had jumped. Near the end of the bridge, the land leveled off. There we all squeezed in under the bridge, taking care not to slide into the river. Now maybe you can get an idea of how it feels to be a native, Rolling Thunder said. Always running, always hiding, sneaking and slinking around, sometimes shot at, even today, you never know when. Always hunted and chased, kicked out, sent away, herded here and there. You trust the land. You have an intimate relationship with nature, but they try to cut you off. The land gives food and shelter and medicine and cleansing, and you know these things belong to you. The land belongs to life. Life belongs to the land, and the land belongs to itself. But they say, I take this piece, that piece is left for you, and sign your name. They take it all anyway. They signed too, but they didn't care. There was no reason or explanation because it was all wrong to begin with. They just said, you can walk. You can keep walking, you might live. Now they call it public domain. Keep off, native. This land belongs to the public. This land is managed by the BLM. You are managed by the BIA, so keep off. So you sneak around, and if you feel guilt or fear, they prefer it that way. You have to keep your relationship with nature. Mother Earth is your friend. The land belongs to the native. The car had gone right over our heads. The sound faded slowly into the distance, and there was silence again. No one spoke or moved for a long, thoughtful minute. Let's go, Rolling Thunder said. He slid down the hill and caught the man behind him. The two of them caught the rest who followed. We were across the river now. No need to go back to the road. We found the path. Alice handed Rolling Thunder her flashlight, and he led the way as we followed single file in the dark. A few minutes later, we reached our destination. It was a stream, smaller and quieter than the river, a natural hot spring. Rolling Thunder called it a medicine spring. He pointed the flashlight into the rippling stream, and the beam filled with bright, white steam. When he turned off the light, the stream became a silver glow, rising in the dark, its strong smell filling the air. Crouching along the edge of the water, everyone remained silent. This was a time of purification. We stripped off our clothes and left them in neat piles on the sandy bank and then slowly slipped into the water. The bottom was soft and soothing. As our bodies worked their way into the deep, hot, comfortable mud, its odors and warmth penetrated our bones. Tense muscles and minds relaxed as the hot mud began to pull on us. Ambitions, plans, hopes, Worries, doubts, and fears flowed out through the fingers and toes. The stars became brighter, and we could begin to see stars beyond stars beyond stars. Time and motion stopped. The quiet presence of the group mind reached out to fill miles of silent space. The earth pulled at the feet and hands. The heavy, hot water pulled at the heart, and the strong, steaming sulfur smell pulled at the breath. There was nothing but empty consciousness, and that consciousness was flowing outward, dispersing, thinning away. Rolling Thunder coughed. It was loud and sudden. I looked at him, as the others did. We had all been gazing into the stars. As arms and legs swished in the water, I began to consider the great beauty of the swishing sound. Rolling Thunder coughed again, sharp and quick. All movement stopped. Suddenly, a warning passed through my mind. Pay attention to the purification. Again, the silence was total, but I couldn't keep the thoughts from running through my mind. I was recalling words Rolling Thunder had spoken back at camp, and their meaning was now far more vivid than it had been then. The beginning is purification. That's the first step. That's a big step, and it's serious business. There's a right way to do everything, and there's a right way of purification. It's completely natural, I'll tell you that much. There's nothing artificial, and purification means purification of body and mind. You don't purify the body without cleansing the mind. That's the way it works. Maybe someday there will be a purification center up here in these hills. Below there might be a camp or a meeting lodge, and there could be study and teaching and fun too. People could have discussions and talk and think about things. But when a person walks up that path for purification, everything but the person will be left behind. There will be no books or radios or any connection with the outside world. People will leave their clothes behind too. The clothes will be waiting for them when they get back, but they'll use buckskin, and all the necessary and natural means will be provided for cleansing the body and purifying the mind. So people can leave their opinions behind with their toothbrushes. In the old days, when all of our people lived by their tradition, and purification was practiced by everyone, we had many means such as sweat lodges and herbal medicines and special rituals. Different people had different methods, but many things were common knowledge that are mostly unknown today. Things that are meant for a good purpose can also be used for a bad purpose, and many of these things, if they were known today, will be used in a wrong way. But we know that times are changing, and people will be ready to learn these things again. Many of our new young friends have begun to seek the way and have come to the native for guidance. There's a natural hot spring just this side of town, and we can use it if we go there at night. It can be a sacred place of purification. I've been there many times, and am willing to take people if they will be serious and use it the right way. I've taken people there before, and at times I've had to ask them to leave because they get silly and make jokes and think wrong thoughts. People have to be responsible for their own thoughts, so they have to learn to control them. It may not be easy, but it can be done. First of all, if we don't want to think certain things, we don't say them. We don't have to eat everything we see, and we don't have to say everything we think. So we begin by watching our words and speaking with only good purpose. There are times when we must clear and have pure minds with no unwanted thoughts, and we have to train and prepare steadily for those times until we are ready. We don't have to say or think what we don't wish. We have a choice in those things, and we have to realize that and practice using that choice. There is no use condemning yourself for the thoughts and ideas and dreams that come into your mind. So there's no use arguing with yourself or fighting those thoughts. Just realize that you can think what you choose. You don't have to pay attention to those unwanted thoughts. If they keep coming into your head, just let them alone and say, I don't choose to have such thoughts, and soon they will go away. If you keep a steady determination and stick with that purpose, you will know how to use that choice and control your consciousness so unwanted thoughts don't come to you anymore. Then you can experience purification completely and in the right way, and no impurities can exist in your mind or body at any time. I remembered all of this as if I were hearing it again, but my thoughts were again interrupted by the insistent command, pay attention to the purification. This is like meditation, I thought, or at least concentration. Purification is only a first step, and yet it apparently requires successfully controlled concentration. Here all of the problems of preparatory medicine practice. One must still the mind and hold it steady upon a certain point, neither churning, rambling, drifting, nor dreaming. But here I was again, still going on and on. Pay attention to the purification. I focused my eyes on a single star and quickly found a simple phrase, a Sanskrit mantra, to which my mind could attend. It was a good start, but soon time began to move again as people crawled out of the stream and up the muddy bank. Skin tingled as the cool air touched our bodies. Breaths quickened, and the senses became alive. It was a new beginning, a fresh awakening. In the darkness we dressed and made our way through the field and down the road to the cars. Those who had remained in the camp had a gigantic pot of stew waiting on the fire. It was a marvelous fire and a tasty meal. All the more so because those of us who had done this thing together seemed to remain of one mind. I had no doubt that the others slept as soundly and peacefully as I. That is the end of chapter 12, my friends. We'll be on to 13 soon. Niawa. Thank you.